So, hi, David. Thank you so much for joining me today. How's everything going?
That's going really well. Nice to see you, Sheena.
Good, nice to see you as well. So I first want to start by thanking you for all of your work here that you've done at Sentio. It's been such an honor to work beside you in your cohort and then also there on after. So thank you so much for all of your work here.
Yeah, thanks for your support, and it was great being in the first cohort with you.
Yes, definitely. So I just have a couple questions for you today that we just want to go over. Number one is, how has training at Sentio Counseling Center been helpful for you?
I mean, I think it's been helpful in so many different ways. I certainly hope and believe it's helped me develop some skills as in work, my professional growth. I was thinking, as I'm wrapping up, been thinking about my time here, and I'm thinking that one of the things that's been most valuable to me is actually like being able to get a better sense of who I really am as a counselor.
Mm.
Um, because we videotape all the sessions, and then you have to, go back and, at least to some limited degree for supervision, you have to look at your tapes and pick out something to work on. You actually get a sense of what you're like. And of course, when you're doing clinical work, you have a sense of how it feels to be you in the room. But it's different to kind of see it from that outside perspective and see it with your peers or your supervisors and give feedback. And I just feel it's really valuable, like to kind of see both the good things, the things that I do that I feel good about, and the things where I have challenges. So that's been really valuable to me.
Yeah, definitely. The deliberate practice aspect, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think makes Sentio Counseling Center different from other training sites? And when you talk with peers about other training sites, what have you found, that was different?
Well, I would, the fact that all the sessions are video recorded, I think, is a big difference from any place I've ever been. And then the deliberate practices, for sure, different from, if not ever, I think it's very few sites that have something that's focused on that. And um, I um, I feel like those are really valuable for developing skills. And the thing is I think it's kind of crazy the way most, like when I think back at other sites that I've worked at,
Mm.
um, it's kind of crazy that all the feedback I get, the going to supervisors, talking about cases, and these my supervisors never saw me in the room. Never saw what I said, what a client said, and there also wasn't that kind of that focus on uh, concrete steps to develop skills, as there is with the deliberate practice focus of Sentio. So I think those two things that's what stands out in my mind, that distinguishes Sentio, and I think it's super valuable.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Um, how challenging was it for you to do your, I believe this is a traineeship for you since you're already an associate at Sentio. So how has it been for you to do your traineeship here and the challenges that you faced?
It's been pretty challenging. I mean, a lot of the challenges are the same challenges that probably people would face at any site. Just doing, for me at least, doing clinical work itself has its own challenges. You're sitting with people and their suffering or stuckness, and trying to be present with them, also trying to offer some guidance or do something useful to support them. And then the basic, just juggling life, that it's demanding in terms of time and commitments. But going back to what I said already about the deliberate practice and the video, each week, we go into supervision, and we're bringing some clip that we want to work on, something where we maybe we're not happy with what we said, or the client's response wasn't that great. And so that continually going back to being willing to look at my work where I'm not maybe the most happy with my work. There's a vulnerability in that. I mean, it's complete, like Sentio and all my supervisors have been completely supportive. They created a safe place to do that. But nonetheless, for me, there's a certain emotional challenge that, you know, it's so much easier to just, to not be thinking about the things I've done wrong or that I could do better. But so I'd say that's a big part of the challenge, is like there's this emotional challenge and going back to that vulnerability. Let's look at where I can get better. And it's really valuable, but it's hard.
Yes, definitely. When you talk with your peers at like at any other sites that you work at, do any report challenges finding a good practicum site or a good site to work at?
Well, it's been quite a while now since I graduated. And so I don't think I have anything on that because, yeah, the last time I was talking to my peers about finding practicum sites was like 8 years ago. So I don't have anything there. I don't remember anymore.
If you were to think back on those 8 years ago, what kind of graduate student do you think would be a good fit at the Sentio Counseling Center practicum?
I think because of the focus on deliberate practice and skill development, I think it's like people who really know themselves as someone who likes to seems reductive, likes to practice, likes to get better, likes to focused on learning. Like so I think it could be anybody, but if you have if you have experience, say, like for me, I had the experience with language learning, or I used to play backgammon really at a high level, and so you have to practice, you study and you practice, and lots of people have it with athletics or with music, that you know what it's like to want to get better, that you have to put in some work that can be kind of boring or annoying and get feedback, but there's a payoff. If you know that about yourself, is like, I want to be the best therapist I can. I want to apply myself in learning particular skills and getting feedback focused on that. Then I think you'll be really happy at Sentio, because that's a big part of what it provides.
Right. Definitely. I definitely agree with you on that. Deliberate practice is one of our key focuses of this interview, and then also of Sentio, right? It's a huge plus that brings different counselors to Sentio for sure. Before we wrap up, I just have one more question. Do you have anything else you'd like to say about the Sentio Counseling Center training program for potential applicants?
I mean, as I'm wrapping up now with Sentio, I just have a lot of gratitude to everyone that I've worked with, to the staff, to you and to Ben, the leadership, Tony and Alex, to all my supervisors, the client. It's been just this incredibly positive experience. And so thinking like what some potential applicant could take from that is just like, if any of the things I've said happen to resonate with you, if those make sense to you, then maybe you would, if you came here, you might also end up feeling really glad that you did, because that's how I feel.
David, you've done such an amazing job, and it's been such a pleasure, seeing you grow as a therapist over the course of the last 2.5 years, 2 years. Yeah, that we've
almost 2. It's like it's 1.5, not quite that long.
1.5 years. For 1.5 years that we've been here at Sentio. So it's been honestly such an absolute pleasure working with you and alongside you. And I'm really proud of all the success that you bring already and that you're going to bring in your future. So thank you so much for meeting with me today for this interview.
Yeah, thanks, Sheena. It was fun.